So what are the advantages of genetic modification in plants? So we are genetically modifying the plant. So what are the advantages of it? First advantage is it makes the crop more tolerant to abiotic stresses. That is, these genetically modified plants, they can tolerate the extreme cold or drought, salt or heat. So it makes the crops more tolerant to abiotic stresses. And then second advantage is the pest resistant crops, they reduce the use of chemical pesticides. So we need not use large amount of chemical pesticides. So it reduces the pollution. That is one of the main advantage. And it helps to reduce the post-harvest losses. So how it reduces the post-harvest losses? For example, if you take a genetically modified tomato, it is called flavor sour tomato. So this tomato actually it remains fresh. This is a genetically modified tomato and it remains fresh and it retains the flavor for a longer time. Retain flavor. This is due to the inhibition of the enzyme that is called polygalacturonase. Polygalacturonase enzyme. So as a result of inhibition of this enzyme, the tomato it remains fresh and retain the flavor for a longer time because this enzyme is responsible for the softening of tomato. So by inhibiting this enzyme, the tomatoes are fresh. They won't become soft so easily. So and they retain the flavor for the longer time. So thereby it reduces the post-harvest losses. This genetically modified plants, they help to reduce the post-harvest losses. And it increases the efficiency of mineral usage by plants. That is, it prevents the early exhaustion of soil fertility. So it helps to maintain the soil fertility. And also it enhances the nutritive value of food. For example, is the golden rice. So what is golden rice? It is a vitamin A enriched rice. So this golden rice actually it increases the nutritional content. So it prevents the people from suffering from this vitamin A deficiency, right? And the next is the genetically modified crops is used to create tailor-made plants to supply the alternative resources to industries. So whatever we want to make, we can make it by using the technique of the recombinant DNA technology. So this genetically modified plants, it can be used to create the tailor-made plants and they act as an alternative source to industries. That is, we can produce the starches, fuels, and it also helps in the production of the pharmaceuticals. So these are the advantages of genetic modification in plants. So pest resistant plants. So what do you mean by pest resistant plants? That is, they are called the biopesticides. And also it reduces the need for the use of insecticides. So we can reduce the use of insecticides. Example is BT cotton, BT corn, rice, tomato, potato, and soya bean. So we can make it as a biopesticide. That is, we can introduce the genes which are responsible for this pest resistance. That is, BT is Bacillus thuringiensis. So we'll see in detail. So what is BT cotton? That is, some strains of Bacillus thuringiensis, they produce proteins and that kill insects like coleopterans, that is beetles, and lepidopterans, tobacco budworm, armyworm, and dipterans, that is flies and mosquitoes. So that is some strains of Bacillus thuringiensis, they produce proteins, right? And this Bacillus thuringiensis, they form a toxic insecticidal proteins. So that protein is called the BT toxin. They are produced during a particular phase of their growth. But the role of these toxins or the proteins, or they does not kill the bacillus directly, because the toxin will be present only in the form of inactive form or the inactive protoxins. So when this toxin will become active, then an insect, when an insect ingests the inactive toxin, so that inactive toxin is converted to active toxin, then the pH becomes alkaline. That is due to the alkaline pH of the gut, which solubilizes the crystals. So actually it will be present only in the inactive form, and it is converted to active form by the alkaline pH of the gut. So that time it will be converted to a active toxin. So then the toxin binds to the surface of mid-gut epithelial cells, and it creates pores. So as a result, there's occurs cell swelling and lysis and death of the insect. So it is actually target specific. It affects only that particular insect, right? So this is the mode of function of Bt toxin.